Praise the name of our God. I'm so excited to be here this evening, 8 p.m. You know what time that is. That means that it's time for the gathering. And so we've gathered together. And so this month, as I talked to you about last week, and the week before, is going to be the month of controversy. And so everybody always thinks that that is a bad thing. But what we're going to do is we're going to have conversations about controversial topics. And you might want to share this one because the last time we talked about this, it got extremely heated. And so we are going to be talking about, that three-letter word, sex. Yes, sex, sexual tensions and all of that stuff. So share this with your friends. And if you know me, then you understand that we have real life conversations. We get practical answers and all of that stuff. And we're not going to speak in tongues over it. We're going to talk about it. So we are excited about jumping in and making sure that people can be ministered to. We actually only have one person to minister to, which is great. But do me a favor and hit the share button so that we can go ahead and share to as many places and things that we can, all right? So I want you to make sure you share it, right? You sharing? Good. Hey, who's that? Manzio, go ahead and share it. Share it to your public group, share it to your private groups, share it to each and every one of your groups, your secret groups. Praise the name of our God. We know you got them. Go ahead and share them. We're not mad at you. Just go ahead and share it. That's what I care about. Somebody say amen. Praise the name of our God. All right. And so tonight we're going to have several conversations. If you would like to make sure you have your voice heard, if you want to make comments, you can absolutely do that. And I will even try and figure out a way for you to pop on and make your comment directly to whoever you need to make it to, and then pop back off so that we can enjoy the rest of the show and have our discussions. And so, I have some great guests here. Before I talk about our guests, I do want to remind you, if you have been through deliverance with Walk in the Spirit, Evangel Christian Churches, or Breaking Chains Outreach Ministries, repeat is coming up, but you have to register. So I want you to shoot an email to WITS Ministries, WITS Ministries at gmail.com so that we can get you that information, get you registered so that you can get here for repeat. All right. We just had children's deliverance. It was powerful. Power of God moved through. You can't really coach like 6-month-olds on deliverance. So when you start speaking to them babies and them babies start manifesting, something is real. And so we watch the power of God set our children free. And we want to continue to make sure that you are going to be free. All right. So shoot us an email, witsministries@gmail.com. We are now in our, I think we're heading into the 4th week for PAT training. That's the prophetic activation training course. So it's going to be starting again in about 2.5 weeks. I want to give you the opportunity right now to get in. Now you can shoot an email to prayministries@gmail.com. Don't forget those people who are heading into intermediate or advanced, you actually get $25 off for each person up to 4 people. For each person that you refer that starts. So that would be phenomenal. Some of you have actually started intermediate or foundations and you never finished, or you paid for it and didn't start the class, which is so strange to me, but we appreciate the seed. Hallelujah. So you can transfer that to deliverance or to something else, but we want to encourage you to get involved in learning how God speaks to you. Trust me, it is powerful. All right. So our topic tonight, because I don't want to belabor the time, our topic tonight is on sexual activities. What's his name? Reed says sexual. I can't remember what he says. He says something, but we got some great guests that are going to be coming on tonight. Let's bring our first guest on. This lady is the body life pastor, the body life pastor of Walk in the Spirit Ministries. She is a powerhouse in her own right. Let's go through some of the things. She is a writer. She is a coach. She is a motivator. She is a prophet. She is a pastor. She is all of these things. while others may sit and be motivational speakers, she is all of those things combined, and she is my wife, the love of my life, Pastor Nakia Shipman. You are actually in the process of completing something. What is that?
I'm in the process of completing a book called Lord Jesus, I just drew a whole blank about this whole book. Realistically, healing realistically. And so the Lord has really been dealing with me about healing and just how we do it surfacely. And so I want us to be able to explore our options and true freedom so that we're not always talking about triggers. I think the triggers are so minor and minute in the spiritual realm, and they hold us back from so many different things. And it's literally just because we have not explored who we are. And so because we haven't dig down deep into who we are, we're trapped in those broken places and things of that sort. So I want us as a body to be able to heal realistically so we can move over and move forward, move forward and literally take over the world, though, be able to be what the Lord called us to be living epistles read of men, to literally allow people to see that, guess what, this really is possible. It's not a gimmick. It's not a hoax. It's not a trick, but the love of God literally transforms our lives. So.
Well, we're excited. Megan's saying hello. It's her that's on there.
Hey, everybody.
Anna is on. And so we want to celebrate each and every one of you guys. Let us know if you don't give StreamYard permission, then we don't see your name. So somebody said, hey, and I don't know who it is. It says Facebook user. So there's Tierra. There's our daughter. She's saying, hey. And so if you want to get more information, when that stuff is available, we'll make sure we post it. Make sure you can grab some of that stuff. My single is out. Praise the name of our God.
Yes.
You can go ahead and download that from all media and digital outlets. Our next couple, let's see. Any, mini, mighty, mo. Catch your tiger. All right. Eric chose the one. Hakeem and Imani Duche. Love them absolutely so much. Can you guys introduce yourselves?
Yes, we are Hakeem and Imani Duche. It's like Duche, but it's okay. It's okay. We get that. We get the Stouchy. I done got Des Douche before, so it's
not Des Douche.
Yeah, I don't even want to tell you that story because I was somewhere I shouldn't have been. But look,
all praise the name of our God.
Just think of DAYTOOSH.
Yes. Okay.
I'm Hakeem. This is my wife Imani. We've been married going on 4 years in September. Beautiful, beautiful thing. We learned a lot so far. The first couple of years was a little rocky.
Yeah.
Well, look, maybe a lot of rocky, but we are living examples that if you put God first in your marriage, then He can pretty much just see you through all of it without any bitterness, without any resentment or anything of that sort. We literally best friends,
That's cool. And what ministry are you guys at?
We are at Elohim Kingdom Ministries. We've been there for since March. We went actually a little late. Elohim.
Just think of Elohim.
Elohim. We want to respect the name of the Lord. But we've been going there since March. We should have been there a little sooner, but just needed that little jolt of faith to kind of go ahead and get out there and make it happen. But man, we home. I can say that we home, and it's beautiful.
Amen.
I'm excited. This discussion is going to be great. And finally, we have, who do we have?
What's going on, everybody? This is Jay and Shay Owens. We are members of After Christ Christian Center. I am the founder of Alpha Male. It's a mentoring organization for growing men to become better to their appointed positions. We want men to know who they are and whom's they are.
Yeah.
That holds nothing to what my wife does. My wife is a life coach. She's a mentor. She's a business coach. She's a relationship coach. She takes you to the next level. She has taken me to the next level.
Amen.
Just being a man, she has influenced me to know that I can become better. She feeds me on a daily basis. She does not let me leave out the house without praying over me, and I have such a covering over me. So I appreciate what I have in her. So She has 4 books out there right now that
coming. They written, they just not published. They coming.
But it's for your benefit. And I appreciate what I got in her. So she's going to the next level, and I'm proud of what I see in her on a daily basis, her growth from the time we met to now. And I can only imagine what she's going to be doing in the future. So I'm thankful and grateful, for y'all having us on this show.
Appreciate it.
I am excited. Those are our friends. We don't have a lot of those that we call direct friends, but they are absolutely our friends. Finally, we have Eric and Antir. No, I'm joking. He already said, Y'all, we're going to be talking about sex on tonight. And so you're going to have to be a special kind of person to be able to deal with me as we talk. So as you can see, we have behind Pastor Nakia, she has, that's our goals wall. And so you can see some stuff is crossed off. Amen. Amen. Charismatic Destiny number 3, that's already done.
Amen. Amen.
Done.
4 should be, hello.
4 should be almost done. But I suggest everybody get them a wall, even if it's a chalkboard or something. And that's our goals for our family, individually, like all kinds of stuff is on there. And actually, I think we probably have more crossed off than, And so I'm at the church because I still got homework to do after we're done. Praise the Lord. All right. So why don't we jump headlong into it? Why do you think that sex is taboo in the church, like the discussion of sex?
I think because it was really nasty. My grandfather being a bishop, and you didn't talk about it. You kept your legs closed. It was nasty. It was something that was foul, and they didn't want to talk about it. It was something dirty because so many people were doing it outside of marriage. I think.
I agree with you.
So what I would say is I feel like it's not a clear path, right? There is not necessarily a just absolute white and an absolute black. I don't think there is full agreement. I think that when you talk about sex, and I don't really care who you talk about sex with. I think everybody has varying opinions of what's acceptable, what's not, what I like, what I don't. And because that becomes conflict, I think that as a church, I think they normally feel like we just have to agree. We can't agree to disagree. And so because we can't agree to disagree, we normally just don't discuss certain things. And so it's like we have to be able to just look alike. So if my mind says, it has to be just this way, missionary, God bless you, then we can't talk about anything else. And that's literally normally what it is. Like if you can't talk about it from that aspect of missionary, get them pregnant and send them on their way, nobody really wants to hear about it. So it's because we have not accepted that although we can think different and separate, doesn't mean that we're divided. We are still kingdom, right? We should be anyway. We should be kingdom overall. And it shouldn't be based on whether I agree with what you do in the privacy of your home or if you agree with me. But the reason that we can't normally have that discussion is because that's only how they feel, is that we have to have an agreement. And that's not the truth.
Right.
Well,
I think too, it might be like a lack of education.
Mm-hmm.
I think because the world perverted something, so precious that God gave us. It's like, only unsaved people do this, So I think the lack of education, especially education over your own body, I think that's why it's so taboo, because of the perversion that the world put on it as well.
And she literally said what I was going to say. I was going to say it's been perverted. I mean, perversion crept in, and it's kind of like since then it's been one of those things. And then on top of the perversion creeping in, again, it's the knowledge. Like, you go to church and we're not talking about it. They talk about it in school, even now to the point where they talking about it maybe a little prematurely. But they giving the information, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like as a church, we're not really getting that. So it's kind of one of those walk on eggshell things.
Now, Imani, you said education about your body. What do you mean?
I feel like because it is such a taboo topic with Christians, I think it's hard for them to I don't want to say explore their own body, but they don't know their own body. Like we're not taught about like the different parts of the reproductive system, like, you know, or the correct names of the reproductive system. Or you have like older church women who have never had an orgasm because they don't know how to get it. You know, so now they're living sad sexual lives because there's no education, you know, about like where your G spot is at, or, you know, what's a clitoris, you know, things like that. So, you know, I think because we don't talk about it or educate ourselves on our own bodies, we don't know how to have the sexual freedom in our unions that I think God wants us to have.
But I also think it's about being comfortable, you know, being comfortable in having those open and candid conversations. You know, it's not just sex that we're not talking about. There's a lot of things that the minute it makes anybody, mainly the elders, the seniors, the mothers of the church, anytime it makes any of that,
it be them old men too. They be a little uncomfortable. It ain't just the mothers.
The only reason the parents aren't on here right now is because we usually stay late because they talks about the sex. They do,
and they talk worse than the young people.
Now, can I go left to center, because I heard you know what everybody said, but with my occupation, law enforcement, I see it differently. Okay. Where as married couples, we should think how the world thinks, and the world should think how we think. And what I mean when I say that is, children, you know, this generation, they free to explore it. They want to get in, they want to get it in, they want to do what they got to do. But it's us as married should be free to do what we want to do, and we're so reserved. And I looked at that. But this generation, they got questions. They want to know. They want to know how this functions, how that functions. How do I get this in? How do I get that in? They don't stop. They do what they got to do. And I've watched how, you know, through my career, that they're not reserved about anything. When they want to know something, they're gonna figure it out. Yeah. Being married couples, with our relationships and our marriage, we should want to figure it out. You know, even though, you know, times change in your marriage, you know, how's this working? How's that working?
So what I was gonna say is it's a difference though, right? So two variations. The first variation is when I was growing up in church, everything was nasty. If you touched a boy, you was gonna get pregnant. Not if you had sex with him. If you touched him, like it was like everything was a cardinal sin. They never explained to you anything other than you shouldn't do it. You're gonna have a baby, and that was it. And you're gonna be miserable.
Wait. Do you remember in YPWW? Which is Young People Willing Workers. We grew up Kojak, and this is a Sunday night service. My mama was teaching the young people, and she said, now she was already teaching about sex. So as she was teaching about sex, she stopped and said, how many of y'all having sex? And maybe it was 12 to 15 young people down there, and all of them started raising their hand. Her first response was, y'all nasty. You're nasty. But go ahead, honey. Go ahead. I just saw that picture in my head.
So that's the first thing. But even like secularly, right? And so this definitely is a cultural thing. So in no way am I coming against anybody else. But culturally, as a Black girl, like oral sex was a no-no. That was like, listen, somebody asked you, like, we was gonna fight, okay? We was kids. Look, I ain't doing that, bro. Period. But it was because it was made to be such a horrible thing. Like only the harlots, and you know, it made you a whore. It not. I don't care if you was married. It was like, if you do this, you are a whore. You might as well be a prostitute. So we learned all of that stuff.
Was it?
It wasn't, you know, I mean, it was enjoyable, but the truth of the matter is I would have never done it because I thought it was such a dirty thing. I was told like I would not have explored anything other than traditional stuff, because in church, it was like everything was wrong. And then culturally, it was like, oh, you do that, you're nasty. You do this position, you're nasty. You do that, you're nasty. So all I heard about it was It's nasty. It makes you a bad person. It gives you a bad name. Everybody's going to judge you. Nobody's going to want you. So you have all of these other stigmas. And so by the time you get married, you have such trauma that if you don't go through some inner healing and deliverance, listen, okay? You wearing some thermals to sleep, don't touch me unless it's on Friday and it's on the calendar, period. And it's only going to be this way. And it need to be 10 minutes because I ain't get that much time.
Do you, God bless you, Gay Nerd, Tiffany. I see you, Megan, Carmen. I see all y'all. To refresh the room, we're talking about sex. So if you got any questions or comments, you can go ahead and ask them. Somebody said it's not dirty, but it can get dirty. It can.
It should be dirty, though. I need it dirty. If it ain't dirty, don't come home. Stay at the church.
Of your parents or preachers or youth leaders or anything teach you about sex?
Absolutely not.
My first boyfriend taught me, and I think he taught me a little wrong.
So your understanding about sex was through experiment.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Growing up, I didn't know where,
What? Say it.
I didn't know how my mom got pregnant. I really didn't. I had to sit back and, I just knew my little brother was here.
Wow.
My parents kept it so private. I didn't see them touching. I didn't see my dad grab my mom on the butt. I didn't see none of that. I didn't see no love being shown in the house.
No affection.
No affection whatsoever. So as time went on, once, my body began to change, I said, okay, what is this? Then that's when I had to learn, like, oh, okay, this is what that is. That's what I never seen that growing up in my household. So it was just something that, unfortunately, I had to find out on my own. It was nothing that was never taught because, like, we spoke earlier, it was taboo.
Mm-hmm.
It was wrong. Even though you were married, no, this is wrong. It shouldn't be done. But, we were still doing it.
And it's so sad that I think that for me, like Nakia said, if we did it, it was wrong. And I was definitely the heathen of my family because I got pregnant at 15, had my first child at 16, and my grandfather being a bishop, it was bad. It was all bad. I had to step down from the little praise team, little youth. I was no longer the youth.
Listen.
And I was looked at differently because of having such a child at a young age. And it was sad that I got taught about sex from a man who told me he loved me. Mm-hmm. And I thought part of love was giving him sex. Yeah. That's not what love is. And so a lot of that came with, different hurt. So I wish that I had been necessarily taught, about sex from other places outside of it just being wrong. Because there's nothing wrong with it as well.
I'm not laughing at you, Shay. Did you see that comment?
Put it back up. Has anybody had that experience?
Yes.
Yes.
Nasty.
I have.
Now that's nasty.
I was like, loose here.
It was bad for me because I had like a nightmare, and I went into my parents' room because I was scared, and they wasn't doing it when I went in there, but they thought I was asleep. When I was laying on their floor, and I saw him peek over to see if I was asleep, and they like, oh, she sleep, we good. Like, I'm thinking, like,
I would have just got up and left. I can't do it.
Now, one of the things that I am an advocate of is the fact that home should be your major educational source.
Right.
But often we realize that that's not the case. And so then the church kind of comes in and picks up that slack. Are there specific things that you think that should not be discussed? Pastor Travis, I see you. That should not be discussed, or questions that should be off limit for discussion at home or at the church?
Absolutely not.
Because if not, they're going to learn it on TikTok. They're going to learn it on Twitter. They're going to learn it on YouTube. They're going to learn it from their friends. Because Lord knows my children think TikTok is the Bible. Mm-hmm. Like if somebody said it on TikTok, it's facts, And so look. So no, I think that no topic should be off. I think talking about hygiene, touching yourself, that pleasure, what an orgasm is, because I didn't find out what one was until I was in my 20s. And I was like, oh my God, what is this? Like, this is something so foreign to me. It really felt like I was about to pee on myself, to be honest. Like, I thought I was going to do a whole R. Kelly movement up in here, But it's crazy because even in talking about having orgasms, for a lot of people, they cannot have an orgasm unless they're emotionally connected. So
Amen. Hallelujah.
Open up that line of communication and talking about, the feeling that it really gives you, because Lord knows, Jesus.
Come on.
Well, somebody actually said, let me see if I can go back to it, because the stuff the world has out there is often inappropriate and perverted really quickly. I found it. It's out here perverted really quickly. In the bedroom, as believers, let me say as believers, how is there anything really inappropriate or perverted in the bedroom? Because there have been people who have talked about oral sex, mutual masturbation, porn. Let's have this conversation.
Yeah. I think that it's in your mind that you turn it into something dirty. And again, it like she said, it's about the education behind it, not just about yourself, but about what intimacy is, what love is, what sex is, all of that stuff. If you put it all into a bowl and start mixing it up, then it's a beautiful thing. That's why a lot of couples, I think, aren't having sex. For some people are just, they're tired. Let's call it what it is. Other times it's because they can't move past maybe molestation. Maybe somebody's been molested and they can't move beyond that because there's been no real education. They've been raped. For me, that was my story, back when I was a teenager and going through all of that. So I had a whole history of things that I had to deal with and face throughout different marriages. This is my third marriage, and I'm in the best time now sexually than I have ever been in any relationship, because there's a different connection. So I think that when we start to open up the doors, we shouldn't, kids are going to laugh and kiki and, oh my God, Mom, I don't want to talk about this. Like, I don't want to talk about it with you. Well, let's have a conversation. Why not?
Right.
Because you're learning about it anyway. So whether or not you want to sit down and have a conversation, you can best believe sometimes I'll walk through the house and I'll say something. My husband will go, did you just say that? And I'm like, yes. I'm telling my son, did you wash your balls? Because at the end of the day, nobody wants to smell your dirty balls. I mean, you're going to take care of it. Like, these are conversations that need to be had.
Let's answer that question that was just up. Because
is masturbation a sin?
Yes, I've been a part of lives. I've seen them. Let's have this conversation from individual to mutual masturbation.
So that's the same thing. It's not a concrete answer, right? If you convicted, you convicted. Don't worry. You don't put your conviction on me. At the end of the day, same thing applies to my bedroom. What you do in your bedroom is your bedroom. I'm not asking you. Don't really care because I'm not in it. Don't worry about mine either. At the end of the day, my bed is undefiled. Stay in your bed. My sin, if I masturbate in the bedroom, clearly nothing, because I'm by myself. So, but anyway, we're gonna keep going. Now, masturbation. If you are convicted, then yes, to you, ma'am, sir, it is sin. If they not convicted, stop trying to convict people with your convictions. If I masturbate all day and still please my husband, that is my business. It ain't yours.
So let's talk about that. So in our church, we are taught that masturbation is a sin because it's technically a man pleasing himself. And so, or a woman pleasing herself, in that. So it's like, where is it scripturally that says it is or is not a sin? And like Nakia said, I mean, if you don't feel convicted, then that's your walk. I don't have nothing to do with that, but I don't know. I'm married, so there's no reason my husband should ever be masturbating at any given time. I'm just saying.
Well, what about What about mutual masturbation? What if he wants to see you masturbate?
For me, that's not pleasing to me.
Oh, but your body, not yours.
It's not, but I'd rather him do it. I mean, you can answer the question better than me.
What
For
if-
me,
what if-
Well, no, but
what
he
if
said
wanna-
if he
what
asked you,
wants
yeah.
to see, what if he want a nut all over your stomach?
I need you to go get a towel. Go get a towel. Go get a towel. You got a passport. Go get a
that's
towel.
so real, but I was not ready for that, right?
Because in order for
That's
that
real
to
talk.
happen,
No, that's real talk.
It is, but I just wasn't ready for it.
Yeah. So
I need you to go get a towel.
That's what I'm saying. Get a towel,
that was actually
please.
a cool question. You know, I like
Just
that.
make sure
because
you got the towel.
some men are
visual,
you know, to where I want to try something
Wait, he's
different.
talking about you.
and men are visual.
Yeah, we are.
That might be really hot for him. He come and
And you know, let's even go to this point, because women don't. I don't think women do it as much as men. But back in the day when we did watch porn, we still want to reenact some of that stuff. You know, we want to try some of that stuff. So we have our wives and we want to try it. So, you know, anything what the Bible says is legal in the bedroom. So I don't like Wendy. If I had that thought, I don't see anything wrong with it. As long as I discuss it with her, like, hey, this is what I want to do. I ain't gonna just bring it up on her, you know. But I'm gonna just say, hey, this is what I want to try. You know, let's do it. And
You
See, that
better
was
get
a
your
surprise.
aim together. Get your aim together.
I'm done. I'm about to log off. You know? Like, I'm gonna have to add before
See,
it's
and this
done.
is why the churches are learned. Log on off and see. I'm
No,
calling.
real talk. These are real questions because the truth is, I know what a lot of us have been taught, and I don't care how much I was taught. I was still sneaking off into the bathroom.
That part.
Yeah.
So they taught us a whole lot. And you shouldn't do that. And what was the one that you're gonna grow hair on your palms or you're gonna go blind? Oh yeah, they told us all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But guess what? We still went and did it.
Yeah.
So it's quite probable that even though there are a lot of ministries, and listen, that's not the only one that's preaching that, and I've been a part of lives. And if it is for you, then it is sin for you. If you are convicted by that, by God, then it is sin for you. The question, though, is, am I being convicted because this is what I was taught, or am I being convicted because God is convicting me?
Hello.
There are people who are married now who still have not had any kind of oral sex, digital stimulation, meaning playing with the fingers. What you should call it, Russian fingers?
Russian.
Yeah, Russian fingers, they move fast.
Yeah, Russian fingers
never
or
heard of
anything
that.
like that, because they are under the impression, because of what they were taught, was the only thing that goes in here is a penis. That's it. So there is no oral sex, there is no stimulation, there is nothing. And truthfully, according to studies, it's maybe about 10% of men who can give women an orgasm through insertion.
Come on.
You're definitely going to need to use some fingers, some tongue,
Something.
because for us, you know, we got that spot. You find that good spot, and no matter how great you are at holding it back, you find that good spot, boom, you're done.
Right.
That's it. For women, you got to find that good spot and work that spot. Y'all ever see Friends?
But it's not just a spot.
Seven.
Y'all need to watch Friends.
I love Friends.
But this is what's not being taught. So we've got to be able to figure it out. So what is something you would have wanted to talk about before getting married?
Before getting married, before having sex for the first time. Because I'm on marriage number 3, so.
Well,
yeah, so like, yeah, so do you mean like before the first marriage, before this marriage?
Before having sex with this spouse.
I think it's important to
Wait. Let me bring some real clarity, because we didn't have sex until after we got married this time.
And maybe we can explore that, right? So,
Yeah.
because the truth is, and so when we got married this time, we had already had sex previously as teenagers, all of that stuff. We were engaged in high school, but I was traumatized. So that first night, let me tell y'all, listen, it was traumatic for me. Okay. He was ready. He was cool. I was like, first, how do I get to the bed without him seeing me in this little pajama set? And so I just like I counted the steps, like how many steps it's gonna take to dive into the bed. It was like 3. I took 3 huge steps, slid under the blanket.
No.
He looked back. No, literally, he looked back like, what is wrong with you? But that was my own like trauma. Like it, so it was so traumatic, even though we had been intimate before. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't like he was a foreign person. He had been my best friend for 20 some odd years, but because it's on my own personal trauma, I wasn't necessarily ready. Like, I don't want him to see me naked. I don't know what this is gonna be like. I think we really probably should just have the whole conversation. Because sometimes he'd be so mad. He'd be so pissed off. I'd be like, so what do you like? How do you like it? Like, so you want my hand and my mouth? Like, he'd be like, oh my gosh, just do something.
Yeah. And I think with us, like we talked about everything. This is my third marriage. Like I said, he had previously lost his wife to cancer. So I'm his third marriage as well. Both of us got married the very first time at 19. You don't know what you want at 19. So for those 19-year-olds, you don't know what you want at 19. Right. Walk away or keep dating. But I think with he and I, we talked about so much. We talked about, what do you like in the bedroom? How do you like it? Do you want to be flipped upside down? Do you want to be, thrown up against the wall? Do you want to
but can I say
backwards?
This? But I think for me, like it was different, right? Because although y'all were in ministry, to me, he was like an assistant pastor. Like, it's like, how do you say to the assistant pastor, what you like in the bedroom? And you just dating. Like it in the church, it was like, all of that stuff was inappropriate.
But the question becomes then, are you dating with purpose?
You are, but I'm saying, but I don't want to be his hindering block, right? I mean, they the stumbling block. I'm saying so many things in the church they teach us. Now, I'm not saying it's right, because I think we should. That's why I say we should have. But it's like, if I bring up sex, does that now cause him to want to have sex? Am I creating the temptation? To say, hey, so what about this? What about that? So am I now the distraction? You know what I'm saying?
I don't think so, because he should be tempted by you if you're his future wife, and he should be mature enough, or both parties should be mature enough to be able to handle an adult conversation. You want to do things like adults do. These are adult conversations. So let's talk about that. Let's not just talk about that. Let's talk about STDs. When was the last time you was checked? I need to see your doctor's report. Like, let's have these adult conversations. So I want my husband at all times to be tempted by me. If I walk past
the STD conversation was different though. I think that's easy. Like, when last time you was tested, I'm not tempted by that.
But I'm just saying, to me, it's the openness, right? It's the maturity in having that type of conversation. You should be able to ask an assistant pastor, a pastor, the elder, the deacon, whoever, hey, you like your balls sucked, rubbed, touched, felt on? What do you like? Because if you're looking at me as a future wife, that doesn't mean we're going to act on it. That just means that when we get to the bedroom, after we say I do, then guess what? I'm going to pull out all type of freak meat, Daytona Beach, all kind of Atlanta, drop it like it's hot, the boom boom room. I'm going to try to pull out all the stops, because you've already set the expectation of what you like. And unless somebody's marrying the person.
Are you a sex coach too? Because I might need to sign up for classes.
Girl, look, I'm going to call you.
She done did the boom boom room, the Atlanta drop it. Listen.
Okay, but you guys actually hit on an area. No, teabagging is when they drop the balls.
Yeah, when they put their balls like in your mouth. Yeah, but they booty on like too close to your face. Don't the teabag and pause.
This is just playing with the bag.
Yeah,
you don't want to push them too hard, and you don't want to crush them, because then you might get punched in the face, and then you're gonna be crying, oh, he's abusive. No, it scrolls a little too hard. But honestly, these are things that you might want to have a conversation.
Right, because how do you know if you're going to be equally matched? If in my mind, if we never had the conversation and he had certain expectations and I did not fulfill those in our marriage, then it causes us to probably not talk about it, and you just keep going on, but you're sexually frustrated. Like, be mature enough to have those conversations. Yeah, you're going to be tempted, and you know, if you feel okay, for women, I don't know, if you're not tingling down there when he's talking to you, that might be a problem. Like, you know what I'm saying? That might just be an issue.
Wait, I missed it. When he's talking to you, that's going to be an issue?
No. She said if you're not tingling, if you ain't tingling, daughter.
Back to you.
Oh, if you're not talking back to him.
No, that's if your lady part ain't tingling when he's speaking, you might have
about those sexual things. If you're not wanting to jump his bones, if you're not wanting to get on top of it, you know, whatever. In the process of having those conversations, then I think that you need to reevaluate the direction of that relationship. Because even in the midst of me being
triggered in there.
What'd you say?
You're saying something should be triggered in there. There should be some sort of stimulation just based on the conversation.
Absolutely. That's because I'm stimulated in more ways than one. It's not just a sexual thing. Because even in the midst of me being at my angriest moment, I still want to look at my husband and be like, he got that. He can have all of this tonight, right now.
Right now.
Word? It's time for us to log off, y'all. We'll talk to y'all later. No, I'm just kidding.
I was going to say, I agree. I think those conversations definitely need to be had before you get married. Because I don't think we talked about, because we didn't wait until we were married, obviously.
We tried.
For
like a month, and it didn't work. But I think that's an important conversation to have, like, especially like how frequently do you want to have sex? Like, what's off limits? Like with me, I'm more carefree, where he's more like reserved. I'll try anything once. I don't care. Like, you know what I'm saying? Especially if it's with him. He's like, no, we're not going to do that. And I'm like, oh, okay. But, you know, I never knew that, you know what I'm saying, before we got married. So I think stuff like the frequency, what you are comfortable with and what you aren't comfortable with, like, I think those are very important conversations to have before you get married.
Yeah, and also where you, I guess, your deal breaker, if you will, when it comes to that, because before her, I wasn't doing oral sex, and I told her, you know, when we was before we got married,
the day was almost over, right then and there.
I'm like, yeah, no. I'm like, I don't do it, because in my head it was a no. But obviously, when you love a person, then compromise, it starts to play a big part in it. And I started, and I love it. Like, I love it.
I love y'all so much. So for those of you who are watching, we're resetting the room again. We are talking about sex, plain old sex, any kind of sex, clearly oral sex, and answering questions, and we're having this great conversation. And to answer Dave's question, yes, you let the bags seep. All right. Now, what about, I guess we kind of answered the question about if there was any type of sex that would be off limits in your bedroom.
Third party, we're not bringing nobody else in the bedroom. Don't even think about it. Don't ask. It ain't happening.
I mean, anything that you can think of in your bedroom, as long as it's you and your significant other.
Watch this.
It's an agreement.
Yeah, you know, it's
right. So you said anything. So
anything.
So y'all down for butt stuff?
Huh? Oh. As long as if you're in agreement with it, but you know, that's
anything.
I mean, not long as the couple's in agreement with it.
But we've discussed it. So if we've discussed it in our marriage, what we like, what we were willing to try, what we will try, what we have tried. However, if some people don't like it, as long as it was open to be a conversation, I think that nothing should be like, don't even talk to me about that ever.
So long as both are in agreement and feel safe and comfortable in the arena. So yeah, long as you feel safe and comfortable, then nothing is off limits. But if if one doesn't feel comfortable with that, then it's off the
Then it
it's off
shouldn't
the
be
table.
pressured.
It's
It
off
should
the
never
table.
feel pressure in
So that was
your bedroom, because
No, Gainer.
Right. Look.
wait,
both
before we answer that, that's what I was trying to get to, and I guess we're about to answer that. That regardless of what anybody else does inside, the people who are going to determine what is on limits and not and off limits in your bedroom is going to be those two people that's in that bedroom.
Period.
I don't care what anybody else says. That is your bedroom, your marriage. And so should your leader be telling you what you can or cannot do in the bedroom?
absolutely not.
It's unanimous. No, absolutely not. Unless your leader is your spouse.
That part.
Yes.
Right. Absolutely.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to single, saved, but horny singles?
If you are really, truly trying to live that Christian life, because before I met him, I was like, I'm not doing anything. For me, that's all I was doing was chasing after God. And so I think that I didn't allow or leave room for anybody. Look, Jesus, Victoria. But I think that for that person that's single, saved, and horny, you know, for me, I had to chase after God wholeheartedly. Like I chose not to date. I chose not to entertain conversations, because I already knew that it was going to be easy for me to be tempted, because I was a young, you know, single, beautiful woman. And I knew that I could fall victim to the temptation of having sex with just some random, and I didn't want to do that. So really, when he and I started dating, like I said, we had those conversations, but that was, well, like once he was like, all right, let's figure this thing out. Like, what are we doing? Because we're not dating for sport. We're dating for marriage. And so that's when the conversations, but before that, for women, I really feel like just kind of close that door until God sends you who is meant for you, and just seek God the whole time, because a whole lot of praying needs to happen, you know.
And for men, it's very hard, because you almost got to lead a boring life. You can't watch, you know, certain TV shows. You can't listen to like your Luther Vandross.
It's not boring.
Well,
It kind of is.
Coming from where you were,
right,
to having that, you know, active lifestyle, to just coming to a complete stop.
right,
It does get boring, but you have to know what you want in that moment. So I had to stop what I had, you know, was doing, and I was okay with that boring lifestyle, because I knew what that fun, hype lifestyle would lead me to do. But I was okay with that boring lifestyle, and I had to pump the brakes on everything. And you know, I love, you know, listening to my old school music. I couldn't listen to that because it would change my mind and make me think of certain things, and then it make you want to call such and such up just off of music, or watching a TV show like where couples are, you know, being romantic. I had to change all that. I had to watch stuff that didn't take my mindset there. So I just, you know, had to watch what I was doing.
What about even having a why?
A who?
Putting a why to it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Putting
Like
why?
putting a why. Like, why do I want to stop? Why do I want to wait until marriage? Like, we tried very hard to wait until marriage, but putting a why on it gave it reason. It gave it something to strive for, because I knew that in my own self, when he came around, it was a wrap. You know what I'm saying? It's the same man just in conversation that I would be turned on by. Just by looking at him, I was getting turned on. So when we tried not to do anything, our why became bigger than that, because we wanted God as our foundation and things like that.
That's good advice.
So,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. It's okay.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, that's really good advice. Having a why, and then, like he was saying, knowing yourself. If you know you can't listen to Pretty Ricky without getting horny, then don't listen to it. Like, if you can't watch Power because there's a lot of sex in there, don't watch Power. Like, you have to know yourself. Like, if you're really, and having that why, like, before I met him, I had went into a place where I was just like, you know what, God, I'm tired. You know, I'm sick of the relationships lasting for like 3 months and then it's done. Like, I'm just gonna focus on like what you have for me and my daughter. And that's what I did for 3, 4, maybe 6 months. And then I met him. So it was kind of like I had to take myself out of that lifestyle. And when I started focusing on what God wanted me to do, getting back in right standing with
and here come a distraction.
The distractions be distracting, okay? But no, when I got back in right standing with God, when I was really just focused on doing what he wanted me to do and focusing on my daughter, then I met him, and it was just like a divine type of connection after that. So I think knowing that there's always like a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, or there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, like knowing your why, like I know what God has for me. So I'm going to try to keep myself, so that I can get the goodness that God wants from. God doesn't want us to be single out here and miserable. You know what I'm saying? That's why he created Eve for Adam. He was like, it's not good for man to be alone. So God knows that, but you just have to get yourself in right standing so that you can get what God has promised for you.
And then honestly, when all else fails, if you really just look at everybody like they got that thing, like that clap back or something, just look at them like that. Just in your mind, just look at them and be like, you got that stuff in your mind. Don't say it out loud. You might get punched in the face. But that might help you. Or wear your granny panties if you're going out on a date. Wear the panties with the holes in it. So
you ain't getting none.
Right. Do certain things to look in the Kia face. Let it grow out.
I'm just trying to figure out when has draws ever really matter. Who first supposed to look at them? At the end of the day,
I'm not going to have
you may not want to, but if he the right guy, trust me, them draws coming off, so they're gonna be so slick in that skirt, pants.
One thing that did help me out coming up was I had a friend tell me, she says, be careful who you sleep with, because that potentially could be your baby mama. And I had to look at some of these chicks like, do I want you as a baby?
And I wish he would have chose differently.
No, but it just really woke me up to say, like, if I lay down with you, you could potentially be my baby mama
or baby daddy.
I do have a question. I do have an interjection question though for both of you, because we're talking about singles. Didn't both of y'all say before y'all got married y'all did it?
And that's why I said, but
no. Hold on. No.
We the only sanctified one.
Yeah, you tried. At the end of the day, y'all tried. You tried. You did. You tried very well. Hallelujah. You tried. I'm gonna clap it up for your tries. All right. Amen.
I actually messed it up. I'm the one who
No. You didn't mess it up because she gave me a food. Y'all gotta stop. Don't try to cover that. So listen. So wait.
No.
Amen. I'm not. Y'all ain't in a bad place. I only asked that question.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Seriously, hands down, I was being so good until
it happened. That's what everybody said.
I promise you, on everything I love.
Listen, so I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that it was each man. Let me tell you why I said that. Right. So we were engaged. We dated, hung out, all of that stuff. I think we used very good wisdom as it pertained to like times of us being together. We did a lot of group stuff, all of that stuff. One particular evening, had a really great night. We were sitting in the car chit-chatting. He put his hand on the thigh. He could have had it all. Take me home, please. Why? Because I understand the connection that we have. So we sit here a couple more minutes longer, ain't gonna take nothing. Forget the car. We outside. We done did it before in broad daylight outside. So this right here does not matter. It was dark that night. So Jesus could have saw it. The zoo people could have saw it. Wouldn't matter to me. I think though, because we're talking about what advice do you give to a single person? Because I wouldn't say don't date, right? Because how do I know who God is sending for me if I just completely close the door? What I would say that I think both of you said, and I think it's really great, is making the why bigger, right? So let's make, what we're building more important, because sex can ruin so many different things, right? If we do it too fast, you know what I'm saying? If we are focused just on that. So really making the why, and it's the same thing in marriage, because I know they said, what advice do you give even to married couples when you get bored? I think it's always making your why bigger, making your covenant bigger, why we're together, why we're staying together, making all of that stuff bigger than just the act. Because when you do that, because it's an emotional thing anyway, when you do that, we're always going to be connected. I think in the simplest of things, when you are connected and you make everything bigger than just sex or just our argument or just our, the last thing we did, but we make our covenant bigger. So because our covenant is bigger, that means that I'm going to try to always find out what you love, what's changing, because we change and evolve, right? So last week I might need you to do 3 flicks to the clitoris and come up out of it, right? But hey, now I might need 5. But we should be able to discuss that, because guess what? Our covenant is bigger, and it matters more than just this thing that lasts 10 minutes, lasts 15 minutes, all of that stuff. So what I would say for the single person is literally seek God, allow him literally to give you your why, to invest that into you. So that way you're investing into your relationship. And even when you get caught up, you'll desire to let me get back closer to God. So that way I don't even mess this thing up. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want us being intimate to destroy it. I don't want our distractions to distract us. And so I think that's where I was caught up at, is because I know that since we've been kids, you know, we knew that ministry together is something that we had to do. And I don't want to negatively impact that. I don't want people to look at us and be like, they was fornicating. Like, people used to be like, we lived together, we was shacking, we ain't did none of that stuff. Please stop speaking that junk into our marriage, our relationship, engagement, all the stuff y'all saying we didn't do. We literally honored what we committed to God. And that was because my fear is, let's not damage what God is doing. If we're going to be an example, if he brought us back together so we can show other people, no matter what it is, let us do that thing. And so our why for both of us was bigger. Like, he had self-control. He like, yeah, let's go. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like he was like, nah, baby girl, no, it was like, we're mature enough to understand that not only our why is bigger, our purpose is bigger, but what we're building is bigger. So I would just say invest in that part though, because if you're seeking to be married, the marriage is more important than just coming. I mean, hey, it feels good, but the reality is, and I don't care what no woman tell me, if it lasts longer than 7 seconds, we need to talk. We need a straight up inbox, sit down, what you doing? Because I do Kegels, I do it all. So please help me understand what you doing that I ain't. So that little thrill that you get, great, but don't allow it to damage what you're trying to build. And I think when you're looking at it that way, you don't, even in marriage. So if I'm bored, how do I get out of being bored? What do I need? Let me tell that to my partner. Hey, honey, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I need you to lick my butt. If that's what I need, he say no. Okay, well, let's try something else. Go get a towel. Maybe that. You know what I'm saying? We don't know, but be open to having conversation, even when it's difficult. You know what I'm saying? Because that's where it's at. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm bored, let me find out why I'm bored. Are we losing a spark? Am I not connecting to you? Am I not listening to you? Are we not spending enough intimate time so that I know what you need from me? Because the truth is if we're intimate naturally, we should be able to feel that. I should know that we're disconnecting. I should be able to know that this is dying out. This is the same thing. You come 3 times. Come on, let's have that difficult conversation, because I love you enough and our covenant is important enough to me. And it should be important enough to you because it's a covenant. It's an agreement that we've made. And so I just think that applies to the married person and the single person, you know, making your why, your purpose bigger and big enough to invest in.
Yeah. And for the one that said that they were bored, you know, I think it's really important, like Nakia said, to really identify what is it that you are lacking within yourself, because a lot of times being together for so long, I would think that a part of you may feel lost. You may not understand what you want, need, and desire anymore, or that changes. We just had a conversation not too long ago. Okay, we've been together now 5 years. What's changed for you? Let's talk about the things that we talked about in the very beginning, you know, because we have changed. We've grown as individuals. Our needs have changed. Our wants have changed. What turned me on 5 years ago doesn't turn me on today, or vice versa. You know, so it's in having that conversation. It's moving beyond the bills. It's moving beyond the children. It's moving beyond it's moving beyond all of those things so that you can stay connected here. And if you're getting bored, I think in your sexual relation, sit down and have that conversation. You know, there are ways to connect with someone outside of sex. You may sit there and just need to sit on his lap and stare at him for 15 minutes in his eyes. Connect here.
So listen, we did a marriage intensive and we had 5 minutes. Was it 5 minutes?
5.
Then 5 minutes. Listen, y'all, 15 minutes, y'all need prayer. Okay. Then 5 minutes was the longest 5 minutes of our lives. It was amazing.
You need a different way to reconnect.
No, I'm sister, I promise I'm not discounting what you're saying. I'm saying we had to do it. And that 5.
Nah, baby, you gonna look right here for 15 minutes.
I'm going to tell you, I could bet you $500. You cannot
We will
stare
bet
at
you.
each other for 15 minutes.
That's what I was thinking on
will
Friday.
lose
Have
your mind.
I'm saying you saying that you don't get to look
After-
away. You don't get to look away. Listen, we had to do it.
No.
And that 5.
You said $500. First of all, let me tell you what bills I can pay.
Oh yeah, no, don't do that because you know for money we would be the same way. So you can't. If they told us an hour, we'd be like,
Have my money ready for
what's the money? So what's the money? So stop. Don't no.
Okay.
Somebody
But
tell us $100.
Here's my truth, though. We had to do it. We had people to do it for just 5 minutes because our minds in this season are so forward thinking, are always going, always doing. To look at her and to stare at her is not a problem. To only look and stare for 5 minutes, most of us can't even sit in God's presence for 5 minutes. We got to wave.
That's true. That's true. That's good.
We got to do something, and now we're supposed to sit for 15 minutes, not say anything, and to look. That 15 minutes will feel like 5 hours. I am telling you, 5 minutes.
You don't have to look. You can literally take 15 minutes and turn it into your foreplay time.
No, I'm in full agreement with you, sister. I'm not. So that's why I said that. Like I'm in full agreement. Spending time, reconnecting.
That connection that you're trying to rebuild with one another. So
right. Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, so I'm in full agreement with the whole reconnection. I was just using that 5-minute thing.
Question. That's actually our next question. Is foreplay important?
Yes.
And who is it important to?
Both people. Yeah.
So wait, can you answer a question? Because you asking all these questions.
What is foreplay?
Oops.
Look, everybody's shaking their head. So
you want me to answer
important? Yeah. Just this one. Is foreplay important?
I think foreplay is important depending on the person. I don't think necessarily foreplay is important as it pertains to the act of sex. I think foreplay is important as it pertains to maintaining the relationship, touch, hair pull. Foreplay happens throughout the day. Looks, conversations, laughter, all of that kind of stuff is foreplay. When it comes to specifically sex, even though we have been educated and taught in several different areas that, you need to have foreplay for a woman in order to, get her. That's not necessarily true. So depending on what she's feeling, what I'm feeling, what all of that kind of stuff kind of goes into, it goes into play when you're trying to have sex. Now, for the relationship, I think foreplay overall, I'm going to associate it again to something spiritual. Just like if sex is Sunday morning, foreplay is your prayer time. Foreplay is reading your word. Foreplay is letting him speak to you. You speak to him. Foreplay is, listening to a worship song, getting caught up. But then Sunday is the main event. Do you need foreplay throughout the week? You should have foreplay throughout the week. But do you need it to come to service on Sunday morning and enjoy Jesus? Absolutely not.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. I think it's does depend on the person.
But you got something. Go ahead.
No, because you said so. Who isn't important to? I'm just asking you the very question you asked. I'm not picking on you.
Well, no, it really depends on the people. So one of the things that people need to understand, because when we first got married, we didn't make it a big thing. We didn't make it very big that we were together or anything like that. We got married. We had been together already. We had been through all of this stuff. Look, y'all, we good. So we showed up at different events. And people were like, well, who is that? Well, this is my wife. What do you mean your wife? First, who you talking to? I'm grown. You don't check me and who I'm talking church people. And so these are some of the things. Oh, you didn't introduce me to her. I didn't know I had to.
Right.
So these are things that came up. And so they had no idea what was happening and they didn't need to. Let me just educate y'all a little bit. Saints that's watching, that are married or that are going to get married, social media, your church folks, Listen, there are people that you're accountable to. You don't need permission to get married to anybody. You don't need permission to have a relationship with anybody. And just in case you did have sex, you didn't need permission to do that either. Clearly, you didn't. And so I think it's important for the church to be exactly what the church is supposed to be, spiritual support. That's what we're supposed to be. We're provoking each other to good works in God. Now, you don't run my life, though.
Right.
And so when it comes to our relationship, people did not understand that we had already been connected for over 20 years. This is why we can walk into your house or walk down the street and have a whole conversation, say exactly the same thing just from a look. People will never understand it until you've been together for 25 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
So, amen. But this is when it comes to foreplay, we've had 25 years worth of foreplay. I'm sorry. I got a little excited. I'm trying to teach the saints. I'm trying to teach the saints.
Come on.
They got questions. You got questions, call me.
Jesus.
Yeah, I was gonna say it definitely depends on the person, because he's had like experiences with people where they could just look at him and be ready. I told him, like, look, if you want to go down a water slide, you got to turn the water on first, okay? I need some kissing, some touching, caressing. I need you to nibble on something, lick something. Like, it's not just gonna be like you seen one, you seen them all, okay? I'm like, me looking at you is not gonna do nothing. Like, I need you to do something for me.
It was a reality check for me, because I come from, honestly, I'm the one who was sending the pictures. I come from Boop, and they just
hiding ready to go. You know? Not me, honey. No.
She came in the picture, and it was a whole different story. But you know what? It also teaches you about yourself, though. It also teaches you about things that you weren't willing to explore, that you go in and explore, and you like, dang, you know what I'm saying? I like this. And then it opened up a whole, it's just a whole new spark that it opened up. Like, listen, a couple of nights ago,
come on,
it was amazing. It was amazing. But see, the thing is, before her, it wouldn't have been that. It wouldn't have been that. I was real selfish in terms of what I wanted, and she came along, and it caused me to do a lot of reevaluating, compromising.
Yeah. And I always tell people it's like this. Just how you marinate your meat in the morning, because you want it to be ready at the end of the day to put it on that grill, so it's nice and tender. A lot of times, especially with the women that I've spoken to over the years, just in conversation, it doesn't take much. It doesn't have to be all of the frills and thrills and rose petals, and it can literally be praying in the morning, a forehead kiss, a text, baby, I love you. Hey, I'm just thinking about you. Give you a quick 5-minute video call. Hey, I'm just letting you know I'm thinking about, letting the person know that they have been on your mind. That meat is being seasoned throughout the day, so that when you come home or, you both meet up together, then that's how, and it goes both ways. Men need their ego stroked, and a lot of times we become complacent in doing those things. We always want it to be one way, well, you should turn me on, and it's your responsibility. But I think that when you both come to an understanding that this is what I need from you and this is what you need from me, and let's both take actionable steps to do it, I think that literally at all times you should be marinating the whole time. Walk past you, do a little touch, do a little sneak tip, across the top area, the bottom area, whatever it is, a little kiss on the back of the neck when she's washing, things like that. Let me tell you, start doing those things, by the time she gonna meet you in the bedroom, she gonna,
running.
With the slide, baby.
I agree. And it really just go back to, like Pastor Nakia said, it really just go back to intimacy in general.
Yes.
Aside from the sexual act of intimacy, it really just goes back to being intimate within the relationship, because it's automatically going to spill over into the bedroom. And I'm just speaking from personal experience.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I have talked to some men before about, who were, and this is in conjunction with this question, sometimes I'd be like, what are we teaching? Are we teaching the saints anything, honey? Savior, baby girl. But one of the things that we have taught is, or that I have specifically talked to people about, you can't go around demanding sex from your spouse when you haven't done the basic thing to make her feel safe. Does that make sense?
That's good.
You can't be like, oh, you're supposed to give me sex when I want sex and blah, blah, blah. But dog, you ain't paid
What
enough
have you done?
bill. You ain't did like nothing that you have said. This is the man's job, blah, 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 blah. Now, wait a minute. If the man's job was to do all of this stuff, you ain't did it, but the only thing that you demand is sex. No. We're not going to do that. Remember, we're partners. And so you don't treat your partner like that. That means that you have more power than I do. So we are partners and we work together. Is it wrong to hold out for your husband? Absolutely. Because if he was holding out on you, guess what you would say? Oh, he must be cheating with somebody.
Right. You would say that. But I also think, to go with that question, is it wrong to hold out on sex? I think that if somebody was doing what they're, like you said, was supposed to be doing, there wouldn't be a reason to hold out on sex. I have never denied my husband when he's wanted it. Now, has he rolled over and he'll see I have a headache? He'll be like, oh, you're not feeling good? Okay. He's sensitive enough to know when I'm not feeling well. You know, but there's never been a time I'll tell him in a heartbeat, babe, I'm about to toot it. I ain't putting in no work today. I'm gonna bend over the bed and you better do what you gotta do. And when you finish, I'm gonna climb back up on the bed and be done. I will toot it in a heartbeat, but I will never deny my husband. Ever. That will never be a thing that we get divorced over.
She said she would toot it. Now, Pastor Nakia, on the other hand, is I see y'all don't even know what I'm about to say. So I think I am more careful as it pertains to that. I think that often she that's Eric. Often I be trying to like look out like, oh, she must be tired, her feet hurt, her legs, she's not feeling good. I can tell she's not feeling good. And like the next morning, she like, why didn't you wake me up? You have dad. That's why. Are you kidding me? And I be trying to look out, and she like, let go. I'll get it out of here. Like,
that's because you
That makes like I'm abusive.
No, not in a bad way. Saints, I mean, like when she be ready for it, she be ready for it. The problem though is I can tell when she's just not feeling good sometimes, or she'll fall asleep. Do not wake me up.
Okay, all right. So wait, listen though.
So I'm not gonna wake her up.
No. But listen, he a really great cuddler, but he'll wait after 3 hours of cuddling. Everybody sleep. Jesus sleep. Stop it. Jesus has went to sleep.
So
He done put the
Let's
little
be
people in the
clear.
manger. He done went and rescued some other people. Listen.
First 15 minutes she be asleep. This ain't no 3 hours. First 15 minutes.
Now, see, he won't wake me up, but I'll wake him up. But I'll wake him up by doing little things like, you know, just trying to get more comfortable. Or
Don't you wake me up.
but he will not wake me up, but I will.
You can't do that to a prophet. He already jump up. He jump up every morning like he in a new house. He in a new house with a new woman, and he in warfare. I don't have time for it. I be trying to put him out every day. This is the same house. I'm gonna install cameras, y'all, so y'all can see it. I'm telling you,
Y'all
pay to
need to
see
be
it.
telling stories
pay
and
to
we be
see
making
it.
stuff up. This is
It's real
life stuff. Like I
He
wake
jump up like
talking to people, moving stuff. Like, what was this about? And guess what? She thinks that I'm the only one. I sat up the other night and just listened to her, and she was like, "No, you coming out of there." I said, "Who is she doing deliverance on in her sleep?"
Cast them out.
I said, "Get him." and turn over into sleep. Okay, wait, let's get back. We're supposed to be talking about sex.
Really quick, because Ray, you said about we were answering that question. Is it wrong to hold out? The real question I would be asking is, why would you even want to hold out?
Yeah.
To me, that's the real question. Like, we're laughing and we're joking and we're kikiing, but if we really get to the root of that question, the real question is, why do you feel it necessary that you want to hold out? That there's something missing there.
So I think we're taught that there's a power in sex, right? Even in marriage. And so for some women, the holdout is, I'm gonna hold out so I get what I want. And so there is a stigma of a power. I think we've been taught that it's like a power. So one of the things, and I was talking about this for inner healing and all that other stuff, when you strip down, when the Lord strips you down to your core of who you are and you have to deal with yourself. So that manipulation, I was just about to address it. Oftentimes we are taught as women, as little girls, and sometimes our dads teach us, and it's so poor because they don't necessarily understand that they're teaching us, depending on your father. So I can't speak to everybody, but they teach us that, the bad of the eye, the soft, ha ha ha, kiki. They teach us manipulation very early on. And so you understand that there's this thing that I can do and it's going to get me what I want. And so you start doing it, you practice it. And some people carry that into their marriage. When you begin to get stripped down, when you go through inner healing and things of that sort, you deal with all of that stuff, the manipulation, the deception, the lying that you do, and I can speak to myself when I was younger, when I was in those days of just getting what Nakia wanted, because what I understood, and this speaks to my relationship with my dad. My dad was a financial supporter, and that was what he did. Not emotional, not spend time. It was financial. So I knew that financially you should do. So there was not a man that I was going to date, entertain, if you were not cashing out, taking trips, whatever I wanted, I needed. So I want a bag and some shoes, go get it, period. And you can't do that. No, you can't even date me. There were things that I learned that definitely were inappropriate, that without inner healing and some real deliverance, I would not have known. And though there would have been behaviors that I would have continued to do. And it was manipulation. It was deception. Unattractive men that I would never date. Literally, I'd be like, yes, yeah, we can travel, but I'm celibate, so I got to get my own room. I would do all this other stuff. And guess what? To the bum down the street who I really, really liked, he was getting it. And, all he had to do was make sure my nails and my hair was done or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was minimal for the guy who I was interested in, but everybody else, I was going to get these long dissertations. It was all inappropriate, but we learn it. And so that's where that holdout comes. It's like a power that you learn, that my sexuality, because I have this finesse and I'm going to use this to get what I want. And you carry it into marriage. I think it's something that should be broken and destroyed.
Absolutely.
You get married. However, some people still have it. And so that's where you get that holdout. Oh, he didn't buy me this. He didn't pay that bill for me. Okay, well, he ain't getting none. It is. And it's a cycle. And it's also culturally based. A lot of, I was taught young, my grandmother, and it's so funny. Me and my cousins laughed at a dinner. It's a bad song. But when we were kids, literally my grandmother taught us a song that was like, when I was in high shoes, my granny poo told me, no man is no good. You just take his money, call him honey, and you say bye-bye. That was something taught to kids. We were kids singing it every holiday. So this is something ingrained, and it was like a card, like, oh, he ain't got no money, don't come. I was told by my stepmom, girl, you should never have a wet banana and have a dry pocketbook. If you wet, honey, your pocketbook should be stacked. And so those are things that I did. Thank God for deliverance. That I mean, even in my first marriage, like, it was kind of like, we doing it, so I need $400. My ex-husband used to be like, this ain't we live together, you're my wife, like, what are we talking about here? Well, them shoes just came out. I mean, it's a cycle, literally, that you're taught, though. And so some of that stuff, that's why when I talk about, like, on platforms about marriage, things that I wish I would have known who I was before I got married, because all that manipulation, I never knew the ugly version of myself. I never knew the brokenness because of the absence of my father. I never knew. It was so many things that I didn't know until literally the Holy Spirit allowed me to be broken down in a place to have to strip all of that stuff apart and say, this is now the ugly version of you, because you've never dealt with all of these scars. So you're manipulative, you're a liar, you use people for what they can do for you. And until I was able to see that stuff, I was doing this. I was harming other people and not realizing it too.
Yeah.
I think that I love this. Something that I was just thinking about, the fact that a lot of times people find sexual identity or find identity, well, I guess it would be sexual identity through their sexual expression. And their expression can be whatever that thing is, from a sex kitten to teacher, um, uh, top, bottom, any of that stuff. Because I know we have all kind of audiences that watch us, and so I need us to understand that just because you're good at that particular expression, that does not make you who you are, and that is not your definition. That is a part of who you are. And I think oftentimes when we start finding people who have figured out that they stacked and they're good at sex, they use that as a tool in their relationships, not just in marriage, but any covenant relationship that they're in, to kind of dictate, control, and manipulate the relationship. And the truth is, any kind of emotional or physical manipulation will always be deceptive. And that is something that is not going to build or foster a healthy relationship. And so I think that this is something that's very important. People can take you out of the mood of being intimate. The great question: do you set aside time? Do you come together? And I know a lot of people will say, "Oh, well, you shouldn't do that. It should be impromptu." Okay, it can be, but all of y'all not as busy as we are. Some of y'all sat through the pandemic and just sat there. Well, we didn't do that. We're writing books, we're recording, we're preaching, we're teaching, we're connecting with people, we're making sure that people are still living, we are making sure that people haven't killed their spouses, we're trying not to kill each other. And so being able to schedule some of these things can be very, very important for a lot of people. Here's the last question, or sort of question to the last one. Do women care about lingerie?
Like, you mean,
Wait.
do we care about it? Like, do we care if you got it on, or do we care?
Because we know how men feel about it typically. Do women care about lingerie, and do you want men to wear lingerie?
What is man lingerie?
I don't know if it's called lingerie. I mean,
for y'all, lingerie, the only thing that y'all probably thinking of is like leis and leggings and stuff like that.
No,
I don't think leggings should be ever.
I don't know what y'all thinking. I can care less about lingerie. It's all that is coming off.
Yeah,
it's coming off. It's coming off.
I mean, there are times when I've asked him to put on something a little bit, nicer in the bedroom. Like, why do I have to be the one trying to fit into my wedding night outfit? Like, that's not fair. I want you to try and put on some stuff, like, you don't understand my struggle when I'm trying to get put in that stuff. But I'm
throwing the flag on the play. No, I'm throwing the flag on the play, because this man just said, now I don't think he cares about lingerie, but don't say it like it don't matter. Listen, I don't have mini pajamas, but listen, we was having a disagreement. He's talking about you the one coming here with moo-moos. It's a moo-moo? I don't own moo-moo. Granny panties. Ain't never bought no granny panties. Excuse me. So he do care. Stop it. He just said men are visual. This man out here, listen, it don't have to be lingerie. I agree. But listen, he wants the booty cheek out, a boob out, something. Stop pretending on this here Facebook, because I literally have I wish my daughter was on here right now. We little shorts, wintertime don't matter, little tank tops. No, that ain't enough. He still feel like that. Them granny panties. No, they're shorts. They are little bitty shorts. Okay, it's not granny panties, but you're visual. That ain't turn you on when I walk straight in that room. But I had on some heels because I had to come from the bathroom, and I don't believe in walking barefoot. And I'm a little nightgown with my heels. Oh, he was talking about that. So, sir, stop it. You are visual. Quit playing on this here live video.
Yeah.
The question is, do y'all care
if
we are?
Oh,
I do.
Boy shorts, boxers, G-string.
No.
I think that might be hot.
No,
I think all that might be hot. I think all that might be hot. Put on a G-string.
Wait.
Put on some boy shorts.
First of all, a man should never be wearing boy shorts or a G-string.
Wait, you know what boy
You
shorts
can't
are?
say you can't say never. That's your
Yeah,
choosing.
Let me
Do
rephrase
you
it.
know what
My
boy shorts
husband,
are?
Right.
Mr. Owens,
Mr. Owens, please don't get no boy
said now
shorts.
never
Shit,
show
man.
Do
up.
you wait?
Send me
Listen.
your size.
Do you know what boy shorts are?
Yes,
What are they?
I wear. You talking about boxer briefs? That's different
That's what
than
they
boy
are.
shorts. No,
No.
boy shorts. Boy shorts.
For a man, they the boxer
Boy
briefs.
shorts
They're
are
called
boxer
boxer
briefs.
briefs, though.
Yeah, it does.
You want to be technical?
Yes.
I'm a drove
Because
out
if he
to
pull
Southern
up,
Heights.
hold on, if he pull on my boy short, we have a problem. We have a whole nother conversation.
Don't put on my boy shorts, period. But you can put you on
That's
some.
why- hold
Make
on.
sure they your own.
But listen, this is why I asked, because just the name for you creates a totally different image. Boy
Absolutely.
shorts are usually what we wear for underwear. Y'all just wear them differently.
But and that's how we even got them. That's why they call boy shorts. They
But
wasn't
why
designed
don't
originally
boy
for us.
But
The style is different.
the style, the boy short cuts off at the woman's showing her butt cheek, the
Her
bottom
cheek,
half.
yeah. So it's a different.
Boxer briefs give you, the little cup, it cups it, and it's like the short. So it is different. Boy shorts are, if I say, babe, go get some boy shorts, he gonna look at me and probably knock me to Timbuktu. Like in his eyes. I'm gonna be way on the other side.
That's why the bedroom
That's
is
interesting.
undefiled in your house.
I just Googled.
You got to be in
boy
agreement with
shorts.
that. We not in agreement with that.
I agree with that. You got to be in agreement. What you in
Yeah,
agreement
Lois.
with, shipment? You want the G-string or the boy
No,
shorts?
I just Googled boy shorts, and then it said boy shorts for girls, boy shorts for men. The reason that is, somebody just said they boxer brief for guys. Ladies, now they are, of course, going to be cut different for women because the shape of women are different. The reason that they are what they are is because women were taking our underwear because they thought that it was cute and wearing them. And so somebody got the grand idea to cut it just a little sharper and make it designed for women. So when you say that men cannot wear boy shorts, some of us got on boy shorts right now.
I said, this man, I don't look, whatever you have up under your clothes.
Just don't wear no tighty whities. As long as you don't come home with no tighty whities, you can do anything else. As long as you don't come in here with them, don't come in here with them. But
Because my thinking is, if I got on boxers, I might as well wear nothing.
I just feel like I'm so
I got a handkerchief.
attracted to the way he's built. I'd rather him just come to bed with nothing on. Like just his
Right, because we built like that though.
Tall, skin, slender, I'm like, he all black and chocolate. Like, just come to bed with all that chocolate. You don't need nothing else on.
Look, Pastor Stephanie, you see what she said?
I want my mate to be comfortable.
They don't care, girl. They do not care.
I mean, it's only a couple of minutes. That little discomfort is not that long.
They gonna come right
Gonna
up.
come right up. Mm-hmm.
Like we talked about before. I don't know who said it. Pastor Stephanie said it right there. Boom. Everyone is different. Do what works for you.
Exactly.
One of the greatest things is the fact that nobody has to be involved. Nobody has to see you with your boy shorts, with your G-string, and I have the type of body type. I really can wear anything. As a matter of fact, I used to model swimwear and underwear. That included a whole range of stuff. So if she wanted to see me in, well, it really just, well, no, I could probably get away with anything. We'll have that discussion. Hey, man.
I ain't never thought about it. So I'm glad y'all brought it up.
We just, I'm a Leo. I try anything once or twice or 3 times just to see if I like it. And then if I don't like it, I'm gonna try it one more time.
Get to 3. Father, Son, Holy Ghost. You had the Father, Son, Holy Ghost.
3 or 4 times. All right. What time is it? All right, we're time. What advice can you give to people to help them in their sex life? I
would say be open and honest.
Yeah.
Because I think oftentimes we lie. like we don't necessarily share always like what we even like sometimes based off of what we feel like is conflict, and we'll keep it to ourselves. We'll suppress it and be unhappy, or or maybe even step out because you're afraid to say it to your spouse. I feel like just being open and honest, really, like figuring out what works, what doesn't, what areas your partner is willing to compromise in, and things of that sort. Because when we lie, we do ourselves a disservice because we don't even know necessarily if our partner would have, it might have been something they want to do too, but maybe they don't know how you would take it. You know what I'm saying? So I just think having difficult conversations, open and transparent conversations, really lead to success in relationship.
But not just that, the other person who is receiving information, like if he comes and says, I am not satisfied with doing these positions, I can't get offended at that, because I would rather him tell me, and like, all right, like Jasmine Sullivan said, pick up your feelings, move beyond what you feel. This is your spouse. They're not saying it to hurt you. They're saying it because they want to help the relationship. So I think that it's also important that we make sure that we do not get caught up in our feelings. Now, the person saying it also has the delivery in that. Okay? The delivery must be right. Don't come to me with no shenanigans.
Not shenanigans.
The way you're saying it, because I'm not going to receive it based on how you're saying it. So you also have to be able to communicate that, and say, hey, do you like this? Because I've asked him and he's asked me, do you like X, Y, and Z? And sometimes you don't know if you like it, until you try it. So you may be in the midst of trying it and be like, baby, do you like this? I don't want to answer you, because if I'm not answering you and I'm moaning and groaning, then clearly I like it. Like, that's your confirmation right there. But sometimes it's like, let's try this. See if we like it. Let's explore this. Let's see if we like it. So like Nakia said, having that openness and that conversation, but being able to receive it. Because a lot of times we don't want to hurt the other person, and we don't want to make them feel like they're not able to satisfy us in the bedroom. I think that's more of a male thing, with the man feeling like he cannot satisfy his wife. I think that would be more pride crushing than a woman maybe saying that.
Imani and Akeem.
I agree with Shay and Pastor Nakia. I think it's just short and simple. Know yourself, know your spouse, and then communication and compromise.
And it's okay to have boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
If it's something that you will absolutely not be comfortable with, it's okay to say, I don't know about that, babe. Like, I can't.
As long as the agreement is there.
Yeah.
All right, Saints. We're going to send all of our guests backstage, and we're going to go ahead and wrap up. I'm going to tell you, if any kind of advice that I could give, I would say basically the same thing. Experiment, be open, communicate, and have fun. Be able to have fun in your bedroom, talking, communicating with your spouse. It's absolutely important. All this month, we're going to be talking about controversial statements. We are going to have topics. We are going to have Pastor Stephanie Page on. She wrote an incredible book. It's in my car. Gracefully Losing My Religion. Get it. It is absolutely incredible. It's going to mess up your theology. I'm telling you. But it's going to be good. We're going to have her on. I'm really trying really hard to get Bishop Carlton Pierce on and several other people. This is going to be absolutely great and wonderful the whole month. And then we're coming back strong again in August. I forgot we were supposed to prophesy to some people, but it's okay. We'll come back and minister to you. So next week, we're going to be talking about another controversial topic. And then in 2 weeks, on the 21st, we are going to be talking about sex, sexuality, and gender. And we're going to be coming from several different aspects, the church, social work, all of that kind of stuff. And we're going to help you learn how to deal with all of the stuff that's happening in the world right now. Thank you, each and every person that's still watching or that will watch. If you want to sow, we never want to stop you from doing that. You can send your seed right to Prophet Ray or P. Ray Ministries. Don't send it to Prophet Ray. That's me. But the ministry right there, send it right to the ministry, P. Ray Ministries, on Cash App. so that we can continue to further educating, empowering, and equipping the saints. If you ever have any questions, you can always inbox us on Facebook or any social media platform, or you can shoot an email at prayshipman@gmail.com. I love you. God bless you. We will see you back here next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And always remember, we ain't got no tricks, no gimmicks. It's just glory. All right. God bless you. I'll see you next week.